Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, and I have a comment on behalf of Maidencreek Township that.
Could you please wear your mask?
I have to speak. No,
Can you
listen.
please wear your mask?
They don't hear what I say when I don't, when I
That
have
is
the mask
false.
on.
Everyone
So,
here is
I have a
abiding by the
statement.
rules.
I have a
Would you please
statement to
wear your
make.
mask?
On
Put your
behalf
mask
of-
on.
On behalf of.
Everyone
the
wear your mask.
Well, I'm
Put your
saying
mask on.
you're
Everyone
violating-
Shut up.
Put your mask on.
We apologize.
Brandy,
Don't tell us to shut up.
Brandy, put your mask on.
All viewers.
A lot of talk
If you
for
can
an
please
old
call this
man.
meeting to order. All right, I will continue, Mr. Chairman. This is a response from Maidencreek Township on this motion to dissolve the police commission. On behalf of the citizens of Maidencreek Township, I would vote no and oppose the dissolution of the Northern Berks Regional Police Commission. We have great officers in the police department, and they serve the residents of all of our municipalities very well. Therefore, Maidencreek Township opposes any dissolution. The current problems within the Northern Berks Regional Police Commission stem directly from the refusal of the Ontelaunee and Leesport commissioners to work with Maidencreek's representative. The Maidencreek Board tried to address this problem in a letter to both Ontelaunee and Leesport dated June 19th of 2020. Neither Ontelaunee or Leesport have responded to our township concerns in this matter. That letter and all attachments are attached to my statement in opposition to this dissolution. The solution here is not to dissolve, but to make changes to the police commission where all three municipalities work together.
That means you resign, right?
Ontelaunee Township and Leesport Borough have decided to dissolve the police commission. There was no discussion at the commission about the actual dissolution of the Northern Berks Police Commission prior to today, nor was Maidencreek involved in these efforts to dissolve the police commission. There's no problem with this police department that cannot be solved if the police commissioners and the police chief act professionally and work together. Maidencreek Township recommends taking this approach.
Any discussion above that? If not, the motion's been made, it's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Second motion. I make a motion to approve resolution that serves to dissolve the Northern Berks Regional Police Commission, effective May 10th of 2021. Pursuant to the terms of the commission's deposit charter, and to direct the commission solicitor to take all necessary measures to ensure compliance with the charter and applicable laws, which include impact bargaining with the police officers bargaining unit. Do I have a motion to approve resolution? What resolution number would that be?
3.
Number 20, 2020
That's the reason.
-3. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution? I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay, I'm voting no for the same reasons I voted opposed to your motion to dissolve.
Business from the floor.
Where's public comment? Where doesn't the public and the taxpayers, the people are going to be directly impacted by this? Where is our say in it? I'm in Ontelaunee Township. Where do I get a say? Because I'm not happy about this. And I know a lot of other people who are not happy about this. So our representatives are not representing us. This is a problem in our country. Obviously not just on the federal level and with our votes. Now it's here with our commission. You can hold a vote and then say public comment. That's not the way it works in this country. And I'm damn sure of that because I taught it for years.
Okay. Ontelaunee Township is forming its own department. There will be no lapse of services between the 6 months term of Northern Berks Regional Police Department to a department which will be formed by Ontelaunee Township and will also possibly working with Leesport Borough to provide service.
You are missing my point. Where is our voice? We voted you all into office. Where is our voice being heard? This is the issue in this country. We voted you into office. You are to be doing what we want, not what you all decide behind a closed door.
There was never a closed door. There was
Well,
never-
none of us knew.
We didn't
We-
know.
none of
We
us
didn't
knew.
know. That's
We
why
got
we're here.
no
No
notice.
notice.
No notice.
No
We
notice.
had to see
And
something
all because
peaceful.
one girl can't play nice in the sandbox.
I didn't even know until Friday that this was being voted on today and already had been decided by the other two municipalities. That's exactly my point. And I think-
You-
I'm
You're the
aware,
reason
I pay
for it.
attention to what goes on in this township.
It's been talked about
It's
for
been
months.
talked about
Yes,
You
no.
know.
multiple meetings.
Yes, it
Public
has.
record.
No, we don't
It's been
know.
a month.
If I can say something on behalf of
18 months
Leesport,
of this.
I've been on Borough Council for 10 years now. Prior to me going on to council, this commission has been a concern financially for the borough. Within those 10 years, we have submitted, the Borough of Leesport has submitted a letter to withdraw. And because of the finances, in 2012, the borough independently had a study done on the commission. Those results were not very in favor of the way this commission was being run as far as percentage. Back in 2012, Leesport's share, 19.5%. In 2012, we were paying $380,000 a year. Fast forward just 8 years, we're paying $540,000, $538,000 in just 8 years. That's how much it went up. So as far as Leesport's concerned, the personality conflict is minor. It's the finances. We've been talking about this at our borough meetings for years.
And I respect that. And I understand that. And I've only been moved back to the area 6 years ago, and I've heard those concerns. My concern is that us in Ontelaunee Township have not heard that Ontelaunee Township had an issue.
And
that's a problem.
okay, I can only speak for Leesport.
So I'm speaking for Ontelaunee, not speaking for the people I know here. And that's what I'm pissed off about.
And I respect your concerns, but as far as the commission goes, it was talked about numerous times, brought up about the, what Leesport was doing. We were looking to some type of alternative measures for police protection for a long time. So for her to say it wasn't brought up, it was. It was very evident.
I'm going to address that. You brought up in September, executive session, that your borough was looking at alternatives.
We were looking-
At alternatives to police protection for Leesport Borough. At no time, as a police commission, did we discuss the actual dissolution and the consequences to everybody in this room, to the officers we employ, to the police coverage for the public, and to finances and the legal implications. We are spending so far $76,000 in legal fees.
And that
Just
is one of
this year.
Leesport's biggest concerns for the
Exactly.
reason of those.
It was over $100,000 last year. There continues to be a lot of litigation. And with this dissolution that you two just voted for, there's going to be more litigation.
You
Guaranteed.
say that I brought this to the table in September? Yes, I did say in September that we were looking for alternatives. But for the whole entire, 3 months after I came on this commission, I was saying about amicably 3 municipalities agreeing to this. Have I not? More than one time back there, and I even did it
Agreeing
out
with
here.
dissolution, no, that was not discussed.
It most certainly was.
All right, well, move on.
But
There's
who
more public comment.
agreed to this? You?
What's that?
If when all this was first discussed, okay, way back when, what should have happened was, this needs to be voted upon first by all the residents of Leesport, Maidencreek, okay? All of you as a body, you present your proposal, but it needs to be voted upon in an election, and the residents decide. of all 3 townships that are part of this regional police department.
I'd like to say something. Where were all you folks with all these other meetings that the commission had? None of you were here. That was your obligation to come to any police commission that was out there.
I was
If
at
you
some
had
of
a
them.
problem, you should have been here. Not cry tonight that you didn't hear nothing about it. It's been going on all year long. I'm from
It should have been
Leesport.
sent to
I
every
was
It's been
at
resident.
going on all year long because
And
of
it
that
should have
reason
been
why I
sent.
don't keep quiet.
Why don't we get anything in the mail about
Yeah, why
everything
don't
that
we
goes
get
on here?
anything?
Not all of us are able to come to these.
You made it tonight, didn't you?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
because
finally
you
Then
found
you could've
out
made it-
on
you could've made it on another night,
Facebook.
too.
That's it.
True.
We need it in the mail so every my parents are in their 70s. They had no idea. They've lived here all their life. And they had no clue what was going on either.
This should be tabled, and there should be a special election. Yes, you know the word election. There should be a special election held for all the residents of the townships in this regional police district. Let them vote and let them decide. And if they decide to keep it, then you people in the commission work out your own problems and make it work. If not, then we'll remember come election time when you're all up for a vote in your respective townships.
15 years, you have never come to an Ontelaunee Township meeting.
Well, I haven't lived here for 15 years, but I am going to tell you something, sir. I came from a state that was a home rule state, where every town had their own little police department, had their own little school, and their own little something else. And let me tell you something, the taxes were horrendous. People complain about the taxes here, they're nothing compared to what they were where I came from.
Yeah, how does dissolving it help the cost? You know, we're hurting for financing right now, but dissolving is gonna make it better? That's my only question.
You know, like he said before, there's meetings every month.
Well, I'm not done yet. And also think about the officers too, okay, and their bargaining agreements as well.
Can you please speak your name and your township you're in, please?
James Patterson, Maidencreek.
This is a 2-year, actually this has been going on for over 21 months. The issue's been going on. Last year, we had a meeting, like I said, we had a meeting to discuss the issue. Not a single elected official from Maidencreek refused to attend the meeting to discuss the issue.
Well, we're here now.
Okay.
We're
here now.
Hey, he's talking about our elected officials did not show up. And they sent the solicitor, and they weren't allowed to speak. They did not try to solve the problem from
Can you just hold
our
on, sir?
township.
Excuse us, we're trying to conduct a meeting. To address Mr. Harris, concerns that you have here. He asked for a meeting with all 3 boards. Our solicitor told him that for our entire board to attend a meeting with your entire board would be a sunshine law violation. We sent our manager and we sent our solicitor to attend that meeting. And nothing got resolved with that, unfortunately, but you have not given up the opportunity for all these people to voice their concerns, to go behind our back and bring this resolution forward. We first found out about it on Friday. Your municipalities already had voted for it. On Monday, Ontelaunee voted for this dissolution. We had no idea. And on Wednesday, Leesport voted for this dissolution. We had no idea about that. And then we come here and you're putting us in a bind by doing this. Because we had no opportunity for any discussion and the executive session prior to this meeting to talk about it prior to this.
Instead of saying a good solicitor, you should have been at the meeting.
Excuse me, sir, no, that's not my statement. You're another person, raise your hand, go ahead.
Name's Fred Harrison. We've been here in Ontelaunee since 1989. I've been here at the commission meetings probably the last dozen years, for the last year. This has been going on, Heidi, with you. It has been talked about in the meetings about this person's police card for over a year because of the allegations between you and Mr. Horner, the chief. This has been going on. Don't sit here and say it was just brought here Friday. It's been here a year. You know it. It's in the meetings minutes. Anybody can pick up the board and look at the minutes. This has been talked about for a year. This isn't just tonight or Friday. It's a shame what's going on, but you can thank one person up there for a lot of the arguments that go on.
Actual any discussion to actually dissolve this police commission. There's not been any study done, there's not been any input solicited, there's not even discussion with our solicitor on this issue. So what you're saying is not accurate.
I've talked about for a year.
In fact, no, it's
That's
not.
all I'm saying.
That's not.
I've been coming here for years.
Can you state your name and where you're from?
Corey Diley, I'm from Ontelaunee Township. I've been coming here for years. I've been to numerous of these meetings and there's 3 people here. So you people want to know something, show up to meetings. You would see the whole problem for the last 2 years is sitting right there. Go back. You can go back on YouTube and watch the videos. I deal with over 100 different police departments at any given day. This department stands above probably 98 of them. And so don't go here blaming Leesport and Ontelaunee for pulling out. It's the best thing that can happen to us as long as she's sitting there. If Maidencreek had the guts to get rid of her,
Excuse
this
me,
wouldn't
this
be
is
here.
not the call this meeting.
There was a motion made.
It's not out of order, I'm just speaking, I have freedom of speech. I'm sure Mr. So, just go back and look at the videos, and you'll see the whole problems. So, Ontelaunee is willing to form their own department. This department, I hate to see it go, but as long as she's sitting there, it can't work. So if you're from Maidencreek, go to your Maidencreek meetings after you watch the video and tell them how you really feel about her.
We have Zoom meetings.
Yeah, you can't get a word in edgewise on a Zoom meeting.
My name's Eric Bauman. Apparently I'm somewhat famous. I've been involved in this about 14 months when the allegations against Chief Warner, which were later proven to be frivolous, started. I'm heartbroken. At least 3 officers back here. Dave's sitting here, I don't know if I'm missing anybody else, it's hard to see with masks, that are fine police officers, and they're the ones that are hurting too. Now they've got to deal with the stress of uncertainty, not knowing what's going to happen with their careers, with their pensions, with their benefits. A lot of you have seen my social media posts where I tried to get information out to educate you, because I know people are busy. I wasn't coming, 2 years ago, I wasn't coming to meetings, but I got woke up by an article in the paper about Heidi Fiedler battling him over his raise. And I saw the video, and I thought, I have to get involved. I have asked Heidi Fiedler several times now to resign from the commission, and she just won't accept me. There is a problem, and it sits there. Our other supervisor, Mr. Dave Frank, in March, made a motion at a township meeting to have her removed as our representative from Maidencreek. It didn't pass because there was fear of litigation, because she tends to litigate. So he had to withdraw his, so he knows the problem. He has spoken at these meetings about the problem. I'll ask you one last time, Heidi. Please resign from the commission, and please in the future, if this can be saved, you do not meddle in the police department anymore.
You indicated that the internal affairs investigation was covered, or that was conducted was frivolous. That is absolutely false. 3 officers were actually reprimanded because of the internal affairs investigation. Going further, going further, you said you're going to run over the issues.
Put your mask on.
We're not here for this. Shut up,
Okay.
We're not here for more attacks against the chief. You've had enough attacks against the chief. It's gotta stop.
This commission
Hold on,
also,
point of order, point of order.
this commission
Hold
also.
on, no, hold on, please. Just 1 second.
cannot discuss any internal.
Thank you.
How do we get her out?
Mr. Baumann said the.
Thank you.
Thank
Say
you.
that again.
How do
Say
we
it
get her
again.
out?
How do we get her out?
There's another issue.
If we get a petition, if we get a petition to get rid of her, will Ontelaunee stay?
In January, there will be a reorganization meeting.
All right, no, you don't have the floor, Mr. Baumann.
Yes, he He has the floor.
Other issues.
He has the floor.
Reorganization meeting.
She's still
We will
don't
be
have
able
order in
to
this meeting.
hopefully have a motion by one of our
You
supervisors.
don't have
To
the floor.
make
I have the floor.
No, you don't.
Put your mask on!
I'm asking for you.
All right,
This
Ms.
is
Warner,
just
hold
like
up,
our
hold up,
township
hold up,
meetings.
hold
That's
up.
why she loves
Hold
to
up.
be on
Wait a
here,
second,
because she
please,
shut
sir.
us up.
Listen, just let her finish on her points, and then you can address her afterwards. One person has to speak at a time. It's the only way we can make this work. There's plenty of time, and we can be here all night if necessary. Just one person at a time, please. There's a woman who's taking down the notes of what's going on. So that our minutes can be correct. Duke it out.
Thank you. All right, okay, I have the floor.
She can't. And I've directed Ms. Fiedler to not discuss the outcomes of any internal affairs investigations. She understands that now, and we're moving forward.
Now, moving forward, in June 19th, 2020, Maidencreek Board of Supervisors sent a letter to this commission. It was signed by all three supervisors, myself, Dave Frank, and Claude Beaver. In that, we raised a number of issues regarding your behavior, Mr. Haddon. We also raised the issue of the illegal payment made to Brian Porter of $2,700 for the reimbursement of his legal fees, which were contrary to his employment contract. Our solicitor advised that the $2,700 payment was illegal because the payment exceeded the authority of this commission, and we asked that money to be returned to the commission, and you refused to do that. You never really responded to our letter at all. In addition to that, we ask that you conduct yourself in a manner that follows the Sunshine Law, specifically paragraph 3. We documented how you called an executive session of the Police Commission, and you physically excluded me from participating on the subterfuge of his complaint about me from Officer Muller. You have no authority to exclude an elected official from any type of board meeting, and doing so is a clear violation of the Sunshine Law. We specifically asked you that you treat all Maidencreek representatives in an appropriate manner, including Ms. Hollenbach, our township manager, and myself, and our residents. And we called you on part of the outrageous unprofessional conduct that you committed on numerous occasions, both in executive session and outside this meeting room after meetings when I've participated. And this has been the problem. You brought a lot of cronies here to support
Good job.
All you gotta do is Google her name, she did the same stuff in her last county.
That's your board.
Probably going all those starting this month.
Google her name, she did the same thing in the last place she was.
They pay your salary.
I thought that was deplorable. Believe me, I understand. I've been here, every meeting, every township meeting at Maidencreek for the last 14 months. I've seen what's going on. You can see it too if you go on the YouTube videos of every meeting. You can see the shenanigans that go on here. I ask you to reconsider. That's all I can do, is just ask you to reconsider it. Hope that my township replaces her as commissioner in January, and that she doesn't continue meddling, which I know she's a resident of Maidencreek, and she's still a supervisor, so she will have some involvement, but she's got to stop the shenanigans. And I ask everybody to Google Heidi Wheaton, W-H-E-A-T-O-N, and see what she did in Lancaster County.
Sir, in the back with the add on. Where you live?
My name's Mike Fernell. I live in the Freeman Block of Cassidy Court over in Landon, Maidencreek Township. So, I bring a unique perspective to this problem. So I was here in January when I first found out that there were some issues arising within the department. So I'm going to, I read a statement there and apparently it fell on deaf ears. So I'm going to read it again, and I've updated it a little bit. So bear with me, I'll try to make it quick. So again, my name is Mike Cradell, and I'm a resident of Castle Court in Land and Meadows section of Maidencreek. I'm here to address the board with my thoughts, concerns, and opinions and experience when it comes to policing in my community. But first, let me give you some background on who I am. This will provide some credibility to my comments. I've lived in the township for about 9-10 years now. My wife and I decided to move here for several reasons. One was in the middle of both our jobs. And I had a lot of family and friends that lived in the area. So I started my career about 23 years ago. I started in Shoemakersville and West Reading. In 2005, I started working for Berks Regional Police Department. That department was formed in 2001 with the merger of the Northeastern Regional Police Department and Upper Maidencreek Township in Ontelaunee County. The department, when they merged, Berks covered Ontelaunee Township, Topham Borough, and Lyons Borough, and Upper Maidencreek Township, respectively. Upper Mac at the time had been covered by the state police. The focus were Berks. The Upper Mac had been looking for local police coverage, so at the time they agreed to join in with Northeastern Regional, thus creating the first cross-county regional police department in the state. Things worked well, but as with anything, sometimes people have differences of opinions. Fortunately, at the time, we had a chief who was able to mediate issues. However, this soon would change. A change in leadership on both the police department and Upper Maidencreek Township supervisors would eventually lead to the disbandment of the BLRPD. 2011, Upper Maidencreek Township officials approached the commission wanting more control over the commission and the police department. There was a new chief now and a change in how the areas were paid for services. Initially, they were paid by the hour, and they changed the incident journal, which ups the cost, especially for Upper Maidencreek. Their argument was that they paid 76% of the budget. They looked at it as owning 76 shares of the business, so they should have the majority of the control. The other municipalities disagreed, and their argument was simple: you're getting what you're paying for. Upper Mac wanted 24/7 coverage, traffic unit, and a detective. The other municipalities were getting what they wanted. At the end of 2011, Upper Maidencreek Township formally gave them a 1-year exit notice, which was required by the charter. So I'm starting to see there's a lot of similarities coming in. At the end of 2012, the BLRP ended. So why do I tell you all this? Well, it's simple. Keep in mind, this is my opinion and my opinion only. The failure to lead from a police chief, and this is nothing against Chief Warren, this is my police chief at the time, and personal differences where the elected officials failed the constituents. That's what you're having right here, right now. UMT leaders who were, again, in my opinion, they were holding personal grudges and wanted more control of the police department. As you're seeing here, there's obviously personal grudges. In the January meeting I was at, it took me 15 minutes to figure that out. You're seeing it right now. So at the time, Upper Mac was paying $1.75 million a year for a 30-man police department with numerous specialty units. Max of 20 was at $550,000, Topham was $375,000, and Lyons was at $25,000. Upper Maidencreek then spent $2.5 million on the building, $1 million on equipment. So this is another cost that the township of Ontelaunee and Maidencreek are going to have to incur through taxpayer money when they disband. Because what happened in Berks is they auctioned everything off, and Upper Mac had to rebuild, and they spent over $1 million just in equipment alone, just to get back to where we were. And as of right now, Max and Tony, Topham, and Lyons are covered by state police. Topham just signed a part-time contract with Fleetwood for 8 hours a day. So again, Upper Mac can do this because they have a very unique tax base. Their tax base is, obviously, if you've been through Upper Mac, over to Bryansville lately, it's got a lot of warehouses, a lot of homes, so they have no debt. Upper Mac has no debt. They have a lot of money in their savings. However, there was a fallout. It wasn't discussed as a negative ripple effect that this would have. Officers that worked for the BLRPD had to reapply for their jobs they already had. They took huge pay cuts in pay benefits, and had to pay more into health care. not to mention a year left on a police contract which will lead to a lawsuit. Officers who planned to make a career at the BLRPD left to find jobs, other jobs. Officers that were lucky enough to get rehired were then placed back on probation for a year. At the time, I spent 8 years in Berks. I had to reapply, I had to go through another interview, and I was put back in probation for a job I had already had and for a community that I had already served for 8 years respectively. This will be okay, but I apologize. For a year, okay, so let's put the officers' professional careers back several years when it came to wages and advancement. Officers were forced to quit part-time jobs they had to supplement the wages they were getting from the BLRPD. So on top of pay cuts, probation, higher health care costs, officers were placed with an uncertain future and a financial hardship. This not only affected the officer, but their families as well. Depression set in with some of the officers, me being one of them, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. The other effect was the lack of local police department. For the areas that were once covered by the BLRPD, those areas were now covered by State Police Reading. KSP is a great organization, but they're stretched thin. Their response times increased and they don't handle quality of life issues like parking, noise complaints, and ordinances. In Topton, drug cases and overdoses increased. I spoke with EMS personnel and road crew people about a year or two after the fact. EMS personnel were fighting with patients on a daily basis, physical fights on a daily basis. Road crew members were finding open used needles in sewers. Just like my situation, it appears that there is still some major personality conflicts both within the department and within the commission. I implore you as professionals to check your egos out the door, which apparently you guys didn't do, and sit down. I'm sorry for being that, but it's irritating. Because I went through this. So I know what this is about. I know what's going to happen. And that's why I'm taking it personal. Because I know these guys, okay? I've been in their shoes, and it's going to suck. And I think it's a disservice to them. I'm sorry about that. If you cannot humble yourself to do what's right for your constituents, you need to step aside and let somebody in who can. Back in January, it became very clear. Ms. Feeler, you have a personal grudge against Chief Warner. She clearly does not care about the commission or the police officers or the township residents who she was really elected to serve. It is my opinion that you are failing the residents of Maidencreek Township. You clearly do not have the best interests in mind. You were just out on a personal witch hunt. As a resident of Maidencreek Township, I publicly ask you to step down as a representative of the Northern Berks Regional Police Commission. I recommend that Supervisor Dave Frank be put in as our representative as the only commission. Supervisor Frank has years of experience as a police officer and a police chief. I believe in his training, experience, and knowledge in law enforcement will be a great fit for the commission, and he will be able to clean up the mess that has been created. As for the members of the Northern Berks Police Department, we need the guys got to get head straight. Because the issue is not only one of the commission, but from my understanding, there are internal issues as well. And I could be wrong, I don't work here. Chief Warner is not perfect, but neither is anyone in this room. He may have come in and stumbled over top, but I do not know, I don't work here. I didn't always agree with my chiefs over the years, but I never undermined them. If you were doing this, you're part of the problem as well. There are procedures to take to fight your issues, and at the end of the day, think about how really hard you work. And if Chief Warner is asking you just be a little bit more productive, or be seen a little bit more, then I do not see the harm in that. I do not say this to be disrespectful to the officers. I know the majority of them, I've known them for years. They're great guys, they'll do anything for you. I say this because these are things that I have learned and realized over the many years that I've known each other. So in closing, I want to thank you for your time and to allow me to express my concerns and to give you a little experience of somebody who personally went through all this. It's not going to be pretty on your end, and it's not going to be pretty on anybody's end, because there's the ripple effect. So I'd like to close with saying that the officers from the chief down for the Northern Berks Regional Police Department are second to none. We are blessed to have them serve our community. It would be a sad day if this department disbanded due to personal differences. It is an honor to know them and call them Berks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell us your name and where you reside.
David Reitlein, Northern Berks Regional Police, retired. Retired. I live in Center Township, and he's one of my brothers, and I spend a lot of time in this area as the chief of Leesport, to try to do the right thing. There's always a couple wrong people. Always a couple people are wrong. So this guy's wrong. This girl's wrong. Happens all the time. But you demonstrated tonight how you guys, Granny, you, and Brian, in my opinion, love to do things in the dark. Heidi comes along, shines a flashlight. and then
She shines on
and
her.
then it's Heidi's problem. And by the way, you
Somebody
said,
slap him and wake him up.
We don't even pay taxes in this country. Why
He doesn't live here, man. Sit down. The troublemaking.
you gave me a letter. You said you would throw me out for doing just what you did. I did more for these townships than you will ever do. I don't care if you guys don't like it. The problem is, Heidi shines a light on what I consider your nonsense and what I consider your dark deeds. If you want to talk about somebody having a grudge against somebody, let's talk about what happens to Angel Toro in this police department. And I'll tell you what it's going to cost you a lot of money, so you know.
Go back to Dobberville, Dave. You shouldn't be here.
Yeah, and according to you, none of us should.
And if you
Because
want
they
to
haven't
talk
been
about
coming to
money,
previous meetings.
what do you have, $200,000 in legal fees?
Because of her.
Because of her.
Because of
All because of her.
talking, you're not
All
in
because of her.
her. You're done. You're done.
That's it, thank you.
Doors over here.
Excuse me, please.
Yeah, I'm about to, because I didn't before, my apologies. Kevin Cunningham from Maidencreek. Like I said earlier, I'm new here, so I guess I'm an outsider. But I am a resident, I live here. Prior to living here, I lived in New Jersey, and I'm a retired law enforcement officer with 29 years of service. I was 19 years old when I started. And then I came out here and dated and met who is now my wife, who actually rescued me from the Communist Republic of New Jersey. I like it here. I like being here. I don't know about all these little things that are going on here. I'm not taking sides. I'm listening to everybody. But again, all I have to say is this. All of you are wrong right now, because this should all be put to a vote in an election, even if it has to be a special election, so all of the eligible voters and residents in this district can vote. The residents should decide. And most of all, this is not fair to the officers of the police department. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to all the residents that live here. We're the ones, as well as our department, that's going to be caught in the middle of this. Keep that in mind. That's who's getting screwed over. The police department is getting screwed over by all this BS, and all these residents here is getting screwed over by this BS, because we are not having the opportunity to have our say by a vote. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do, and I hope this works out for you. And God forbid if it doesn't fit for you guys, I hope you stick it to every one of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dave Frank. I'm a supervisor from Maidencreek Township. I'm standing up here right now because I did spend 45 years as a police officer. And I would like to ask the commission to reconsider. If there's anything possible that we could do moving forward, I sure would like to look at that. And I would be willing to sit down, as I've said before, to move forward. All these officers that are out here did nothing wrong. They aren't out there doing anything more than we're asking them to do. They're doing their job. They're doing it with the utmost respect for our communities, all three of them. And they're trying to feed their families. They're trying to do what they need to do, that we're trying to do in our own families and lives. Okay, I feel bad for them. I've gone through departments and have folded myself, so I definitely know what that's all about. Out of 45 years, I spent 23 as a chief. So Brian, I understand where you're at. I know that there's going to be frictions in police departments. There's friction in everything. There's friction in trucking companies. There's friction in everything we do. But working above that is what we need to really look at. Because the effect here isn't just to these officers. It's not just to the commission. It's to every one of you folks here. It's to everybody in our 3 communities. And I think we as independent supervisors for our local municipalities, we represent those folks of our community. We do. You folks represent Leesport, you folks represent Ontelaunee, we represent Maidencreek. But when we come together as a commission, we represent all 3. And we not only represent the 3 municipalities, but everybody that lives and travels through them. We have millions of people that go through these 3 communities. It's a very large community base. That's why we have so many good officers. They've been here forever. They stay here until they retire. And they're excellent officers. They bring training with them that are well beyond their years of service. And that's what we need to look at. We need to be able to say, listen folks, we're behind you. We're behind you as police officers in our communities. I'm a community member, I'm no longer a police officer, but I guarantee you, I trust every one of our officers when they come to my house or they come to an accident in front of my house or wherever, they're doing the job right. There's no doubt in my mind. And Chief Horner, if they're not, you're going to guide them in that direction. And I believe that too. Now, as far as this goes, and I see you're a crowd that cares. I can tell that. You wouldn't be here. The problem is that meetings happen and people don't show up because we do get wrapped up in our daily lives. Every single day we have something new happening. Every single day. So we can't make meetings, and we didn't plan on that. We did because we're supervisors. What you folks have to do is stand behind your officers, stand behind your communities, and tell them what you want. Maybe it's too late for now. I can't tell you the answer to that because I don't know if this can be resolved. I can tell you this much. Maidencreek discussed it at a budget workshop we had this morning because we became aware of it Friday. So, we are looking at, if we have to, we're going to be able to provide police coverage. So, I don't believe any 3 of these communities want to see police coverage go away. They don't, none of them. So they're looking at alternatives right now. The best alternative is under a regional police department because we can provide more service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to all 3 communities. I'm not saying we can't provide that as independent communities, but it's going to be very difficult. As a chief, I know how hard it was to get my communities to where we could provide service. And it costs a lot of money. This is the only part of government that works consistently 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The sewer department, yes, they come out when you have a problem. Water department, they come out when you have a problem. Streets and roads, if you have snowplow removal, they'll be there. They are, but they don't work consistently 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Police department does. They're there whenever you call them. Your fire departments, your ambulances, they're all around whenever you need them. These are emergency service workers. These are the people we need. These are the people we desire to know that are out there. And I'm asking you to back us up and stand behind us. And I'm asking you to just consider if there's any possible way that this cup can pass, so to speak, that we're able to reconsider and walk forward as the Northern Berks Regional Police Department and claim our lives outside the clashes that come and the abilities that we have that we know we've done for how many years since the 90s, making this department work, making it strong, giving it the professionalism that it's got now. We can resolve just about any problem. But we're blaming them right now. We're not even blaming them. We're looking at financial situations. Money is a problem. Money's a problem for every single one of us. I don't know if any of us have money falling out of our pockets while we're sitting here. So yes, we've got to take and make the best bang for our buck that we can get. And I think the regional police department is the way to do it. That's my comment. Yes, folks, if you're from Maidencreek Township, we are looking at all our alternatives right now because we don't have an option. So we are going to look at trying to make sure you have coverage. And I have started police departments in the past. So we will have a police department. I can't tell you it's going to be as good as Northern Berks. I can tell you they're going to be there to answer your call, but I'd much rather see Northern Berks there to answer the call. And I would implore you as a board to consider reconsidering your motion. We're trying to at least come together and work this out so we can at least try to save what we can in Northern Berks Regional. And thank you for working with me for the last
year.
You don't have to go through
Just to introduce myself, my name is Scott Eakin. I'm also, like Eric, famous or infamous or both. My wife and I live in Maidencreek Township. We lived in Maidencreek Township since 1995. And I've attended more police commission meetings than everyone in this room except for Ruth Mail-Miller. Because I've been attending them since 1991. When I started here as a part-time police officer, then became a full-time police officer, then worked myself up, and circumstances beyond everybody's control created a necessity for me to become the chief of this police department in 2000, officially June of 2001. I retired 3 years ago in April of 2017. I have several comments regarding things that I have heard and several questions. A motion was made and seconded for Leesport and Ontelaunee to dissolve the police commission starting in May of '91, or in May of next year, and abiding by all provisions. The charter requires that a budget be presented at the October meeting, which you didn't have, which should have happened tonight, for next year. So if we're going to follow the provisions of the budget in dissolving the police department, I think if we're going to follow the provisions of the charter and at least have a 2021 operating budget presented. I think that needs to happen.
We do have a 2021.
Because if history repeats itself,
That has been presented.
I'm sorry?
That has been presented to the board. A 2021 budget has been presented.
It has been.
Yes.
Thank you. If history repeats itself from both Maidencreek Township and Leesport on several occasions in the past, they have come to the November meeting and stated their intent to leave the police department at the end of the following year. And what has happened is every time those letters, a couple of months later, or those motions, were then rescinded, and the police department continued. The only thing that happened was a very, very negative, the creation of a very, very negative work environment for all of us who work here. And that's happening now. And the last time that this occurred, I recommended that once you put your letter in to get out, that your ass is out. There is no rescinding it. Because all of the due diligence that everyone up here is now saying that they're going to do to prepare themselves for a police department in the future, that work should have been done before you made the motion to get out.
Yep.
No question about it. All that work should have been done. I don't know that there was a necessity to have a special election to vote, but you sure should have had public meetings. Advertise public meetings, give the public an opportunity to attend and present their opinion as the way you want to vote. Leesport Borough has also had opportunities over the last 7 or 8 years to get the percentages to change to benefit themselves financially to the tune of a couple $100,000 a year and turned it down. So I get Leesport Borough's financial issues. I've been hearing about Leesport Borough's financial issues when they formed their get rid of the police committees to review your budget when I became the chief. Now, I wrote down, jotted before the start of this meeting, in addition to the supervisor sitting up front here, the names of about 15 other elected officials who have served on this police commission during the time that I've been here. That's a lot of different people and a lot of different personalities. I partially have to agree with the fact that it's only since your personality came in here, Heidi, that this has gotten to this point. I'm not going to go as far as some others have, as far as calling you names, going into all that. We're both better than that. But on 3 different occasions during these police commission meetings, stuff has come out in the meeting because of questions or statements that you made just this year that forced the commission to discuss items out in the public that were brought up in executive session. That violates your oath as an elected official, and you can't talk about what happens in those sessions. So, the answer to all of this, and several comments have been made about this has been discussed for months, and it's been discussed for months. The easy answer to this is just to wait till January, and if Maidencreek Township reappoints her as the police commissioner, they're a bunch of fools recognizing the fact that that's been the singular issue that has created the fact of everybody being here, or the result of it. That's now resulted in that fact. She's not the sole factor here. There's other personalities sitting in that room too. I've seen them. So I think you ought to rescind that motion. I think you ought to vote to amend the charter to allow you to put that motion in at different times other than the first week at the November meeting, like it's been in there since 1991. You could amend that charter tonight to where if you're unhappy about things, you can vote to get out of the police department 8 months later after you see what Maidencreek does as far as Heidi's concerned, if that's your issue. In the meantime, I'm going to implore all of you to do your due diligence. Have you talked to the solicitors for municipalities from Maxatawny, Topton, and Alliance about what they went through when they broke up Berks Lehigh? Have you done that yet? Have you set aside a couple $100,000 for all of the costs? Forget about negotiating with the FOP. That's a whole other can of worms. Have you decided how you're going to hire your police officers back? Have you decided how many police officers you're going to have? Have you decided whether you want a detective or a chief too? Because you're adding $140,000 a year every time you mention one. There is no way you are going to provide the level of service for the residents of which you represent and the residents that we all proudly served, I proudly served, and busted my ass to keep this police department together for years. And some of you up there know it. I can't tell you how disgusted I am. You got to do the right thing, but you got to do it in the right order, and that's incumbent on all of you. And it's incumbent on all of us to pay attention to what the hell you're doing on a more regular basis.
Yeah.
Mr. Frank, I implore you to do whatever you've got to do. Spend whatever money you've got to do, you and Heidi, and I would say the same thing to Claude if he was here. You got to get rid of these freaking Zoom meetings. Where we can all come and talk to you, because you can have public comment at the beginning of the meeting, which I think is a waste here, because nobody wants to comment until they see what the hell happens in the meeting. Look what happened tonight. I'm sure I'm not alone. I apologize for going on too long. If I came off too strong, I apologize for that too kindly. Thank you very much.
hasn't spoken yet.
Hi, my name's Donna Culp. I've been in Blandon since 1956 in the historical section. I have seen all different police forces. I've been involved with some of them. And trust me, this is the best one in the Berks County, Tri-County area, whatever you want to call it. And I do agree with the fact that we should have had more public input. So, and you guys know I come to all the meetings as many as I can, and I do try to keep my mouth shut as much as I can, and I try to be professional as much as I can. But I please reconsider. I do believe this is the best police department, and trust me, I do understand when I've been at these meetings, but I really would implore to please reconsider your vote. The public apparently does not want to dissolve this. And I really do agree with everyone in here. Please reconsider. I am from Maidencreek Township. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman, we have a point of order on that. It seems we did jump the gun a little bit. We should have provided public comment before you took the votes. So if you can, maybe it's fate, I don't know what you want to call it, but if we can just make those motions again, if you so wish to proceed, make sure that we're complying with the regulations of the state.
Make a motion to dissolve the Northern Berks Regional Police Commission in accordance with the charter.
Go ahead, Randy.
Leesport. Leesport, I have one, being interested in Leesport, I have one big complaint, and that is traffic enforcement, that traffic light at Turkey Hill, and traffic enforcement on 61 and Main Street in Leesport. It's just something, it makes me nervous, the way people run that traffic light, and I see that much myself, and when I watch the citation Leesport has here, I can see that traffic light for, I know I would just sit there Turkey Hill and watch that, and have a fit the way people run that traffic light, and nothing's done about it. We have people coming up there, kids walking up Main Street and going across to their dollar store at different places, this and that, and they want to go across the light, they have a red light, they have a light they walk across, and they start, and somebody's coming down the center there and running that light, that light is just ridiculous of that. And I see that somebody else on what they do, what you do up there, I don't, well, that's my one big complaint, I'm very disgusted with it. I don't see take one thing, you have to rest of this and that, but.
Gary, you don't have to make the motion.
One thing complaining about the officers, but you do a good piece of work, but you have some officers that are very, very amazing, or whatever I could say. I'll end with that. Thank you.
Put your hand down. Go ahead, you haven't spoken.
Quick comment to Randy's statement there. Randy, I do see the police officers down there quite a bit, sitting at the Turkey Hill, right at the light where the light is, or they sit back up against the building. In my walk, I do see them there pretty much. So they are there. Maybe not when you're there, but I do see them in my walk around town. They are there quite a bit in their defense. I do see them.
All right, now for the second time, we're going to start this over. I make a motion to dissolve Northern Berks Regional Police Commission in accordance to the charter of the commission. The commission will dissolve in 6 months, effectively May 10th, 2021. Do I have a second?
Wow.
Wow. Everything said tonight, you listened to nobody.
Wow.
Not a single person did you listen to. And you wonder why residents are angry. You're one person speaking on behalf of all of us. One person.
And you want to know what, everybody? If this happens, and I hope it doesn't, and God forbid if this happens, and this fine department gets disbanded, and then we lose service or don't get the quality service, then when anybody needs police protection and they don't get it or get it in a timely fashion and something happens to you because of it, those are the individuals right there that you sue civilly. Right there.
Absolutely.
Remember the names. Sue them civilly. Take them to court. Anyone that votes for this, take them to court. And I don't care what the solicitor says. I don't care what anyone says, because you can do it. You know what? It's happening right now in some of these cities where these riots have happened. The business owners, the people, they're actually taking those cities to courts because they didn't get the police protection that they paid for. Keep that in mind, sir. If we have to wind up with a different department, it is on you and the council's responsibility to supply us professional police protection. And if we don't get it, and something happens to any of us because of that, guess what? You're getting sued. Remember that. We're not ready to vote. That's it.
We're not ready to move on. I have a comment. I'm going to address this too.
Take all our names and remember.
As a Maidencreek Township Township Supervisor, for all the residents that are here and for everybody else who's here from the other jurisdictions, I believe it is vitally important that we do follow the Sunshine Law, that we do respect all of our residents, all of our officers, that we do the right thing. I'm committed to doing that. That is why I am voting against this again, because we have not had the public discussions. We have not done any kind of investigation. I was only aware of this on Friday morning, that this was even being pursued and that it's actually being voted on tonight. And because of that, again, along with Dave.
Did the chief speak at all?
Supervisor, I'm voting against it.
I just want to know, the mayor of Leesport, you went on and on. My name is Jamie Killick, Killyk. I just want to know, what do you think is going to happen in your township, in your borough, if these fine men aren't here serving you? Because you're worried about them sitting at a that you don't have them at a traffic light. Every single time I go past that Turkey Hill, I see a police officer sitting at that General Dollar, whatever it's called. They are there. They are there. What is going to happen when you don't have a police force? You think it costs you now? Wait. I feel bad for Leesport. Wait for your tax bills. You do not represent these people like you should be. Ontelaunee and Leesport, you two are in cahoots and going to vote together every single freaking time. It's ridiculous. I'm fired up. I'm sorry. But you pissed off a lot of people here, and you haven't listened to a single one of them, not a single one. You represent us. You are not doing it tonight.
What township do you live in?
Maidencreek.
Yeah. Have you ever attended a police commission?
I have not.
That's irrelevant.
Doesn't matter. I'm here tonight speaking.
Bogus.
Unfortunately, my schedule doesn't permit me to be here due to COVID. I'm here, baby. I'm here speaking.
It don't matter.
have to take a resolution tonight.
Responses are
There's not a lot of it. My name's Mike Schiller from Maidencreek Township. With the non-existence of a newspaper anymore, we don't know anything. There's nothing on the news. The only way I picked it up, and I'm not a big computer thing, my kids, my wife and stuff showed me Facebook. You know, that's what I've learned over the last 5 days, what was going on, because there's no publication from Maidencreek, there's nothing. I found it from the gentleman that was up a little while ago. His postings on Facebook I was directed to, and the Limestone area, now I found that they have a Limestone Facebook page. And we were notified yesterday. Up till then, we had no idea. And when you say about not attending, like I said earlier, life is in. I had 2 parents I lost in the last 3 years, taking care of them every day, working full-time, and then going down to my parents and taking care of them. And I didn't have time to read this, that, and the other thing. Now they're both gone. I have time, I have my job, but now I'm learning this new stuff. And like I said, with the non-existence of a paper, you used to be able to pick that up and see the community log with the
minutes from the township, a quick briefing from the minutes, from the meetings, from the police commission. We don't have that anymore. It's not on TV. We don't get any mailings from the township. So how are we supposed to find out what's going on? So thank you.
Sir,
Okay, my name is Bill Consugar, C-O-N-S-U-G-A-R. Live in Reeser Heights in Leesport. Yes, this is my first meeting, oh my God. Now, first of all, I came to this meeting because of what's happening in this country with protests, riots, whatever they are, and I am afraid for my family's life. And I'll tell you what, my daughter, first of all, I'm going to talk about something else real quick. The economies of scale to split this into 2 or 3 police departments don't make any sense. I'm a CPA who has prepared CAFRs for government, okay? Your logic makes no sense from a financial perspective in any way. More importantly, my daughter, who's in 7th grade, right over there at Schuylkill Valley, gets off the bus and I can physically see her from my front door, assuming I'm home and not working long tax season hours. My wife works pretty long hours too when she's actually able to go to work before this crazy year and they decided no. This guy's worried about the frickin' red light? I'm worried about my daughter getting shot! What is wrong with you?
Thank you. I've heard tonight everybody saying about we should have known this has been going on for so long. Yes, it has been going on, but that's the problem. You've been crying wolf for so long, we don't know when to believe you. You had the decision. We didn't know about the decision. We knew this was going on. We should have been informed that we were going to have a decision. And just so you know, this crowd here, most of them are here because of Facebook. One day's worth of people going on Facebook, letting the word out. Can you imagine the crowd you'd have if you would have let us know, let everybody know? We don't want this. It's not your right to make this decision. Think about these guys. What are you doing to their lives? Think about it.
They don't care. Well, what are they doing to everybody?
The finances don't make sense.
Can I ask that question? Alyssa Chrisman, what am I supposed to say where I live? Versailles Court, so I'm on Ontelaunee. Can you just tell us how much a police cruiser costs when you buy one for the police officers? It's roughly $135,000 to $145,000. Then what is it? $40,000, and then after the upgrades are done, my Explorer in the parking lot was $40,000, but it doesn't have bulletproof windows. It's not wired to protect the equipment that you need. Emergency lights, all the other things. And that's one expense for the new department. So that'd be, say, $40,000, $40,000, $40,000. That's 3 people you can't hire because that's only 3 cars that you have to repurchase. As that officer was saying, when they had to auction everything off and rebuy everything. So where's that money going to come from? From each individual township? And then where does the next part come from? Like, I go running and I run between 3 and 6 miles. And I see Northern Berks out on my run. Am I going to still see them?
Or state police maybe.
Well, if it's state police, what's the response time going to be?
Forget it.
Forget it.
You got a good hour to wait.
Form a new department.
At what cost?
Why?
And how many officers will be on
To
patrol?
us, not to you, to us. I think the residents have a vote in this. We vote you people in to represent us, not say, shut the hell up, it's not your choice.
That's what I said, this all should.
We're eliminating it, you people have no say.
You know, that's inappropriate. Totally inappropriate. Whoever put their finger up at this young man over here.
When Granville flipped us all off.
We teach kids never to do that. And he, as an adult senior, was allowed to do it in front of all these people. That's not right.
As a matter of fact, that's what be arrested for doing that.
Inappropriate.
You
said back there about, I worry about a red light. I worry about a red light because there were two doors of the.
She's not talking about that. She's talking about what you did earlier, sir.
Gets hit by a car and killed.
I was hit by a car once too. You wanna go? I can tell you.
Sir, please sit down.
Supervisor,
Okay,
can I
we
just
have
ask one question, please? I
You
have a
have
serious
spoken.
question to ask.
My name is Michelle Beeman. I live in Maidencreek Township. I'm thoroughly disgusted by the fact that the residents of 3 townships are being held hostage by a group of people who cannot get along. What is wrong with you people? You can't get along, all of you. Heidi, you guys can't get along. Get your shit together and get along. We're all gonna pay the price because you can't get along. It has nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with police costs and all this other kinds of stuff. It has everything to do with you guys can't sit in a room without bitching at each other and harassing each other. Suck it up, put your big boy pants on and your big girl pants on and start to get along. Or the rest of us should get a vote to get rid of all of you and bring new people in. We want the police department to stay as it is. They do a service for us, they do a damn good job, and I dare any of you to get in their shoes and get in their car every morning and have to go do their job. And you guys can't get along. This is ridiculous.
For another month. Try to work together.
May I ask a serious question, please?
No, sir, ma'am, I'm sorry, you've spoken. It's been second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
I make a motion to adjourn.
You're unemployed.
Do I have a second?
Hope you never meet my lawyer.
I want to know what's gonna happen to the dog grant. Thanks for nothing.
Remember their names.
Soon personally.